All right, you will want a sheet of paper to go through just some short notes for 4-5, which is domain and range. So get out a sheet of paper, pause the video, get a sheet of paper, we'll go through some short notes. Okay, in the last lesson, you learned that one of these is the independent and one of them is the dependent variable. So recall, is X independent or dependent? And then is Y independent or dependent? So think about that, pause the video, which one is independent and which one is dependent? X is independent. And Y is dependent. In this lesson, you're also going to learn about domain and range. So X is independent. It's also the domain. Y is dependent, and it's also the range. The domain is simply the list of all X values of a function. And the range is the list of all Y values of a function. So when I give you a function and I ask you what's the domain, you're just going to tell me all the X values. If I give you a function, I ask you all of the range, you're going to give me all the Y values. Okay, I can give that to you in a table. I can give that to you as coordinate points. I can give it to you as a graph. And that's what you're going to see on your IXL in your first practice worksheet. And then in the next practice worksheet, you're going to see with some word problems. And we're going to see your domain and range as inequalities. And then also, given a set of domain, find the range using the function given. But to start with, you're simply going to list all of the X values for your domain and list all of your Y values for your range. Okay, so given this example, I've got a function because 0, 3, 2, 4. Remember, none of my X values repeat, so this is a function. The domain is simply list all of the X values. So we're going to use what are these squiggly brackets. They don't need to look pretty, but they're the squiggly brackets. If you look at your keyboard and look at your letter P, look next to that. The top squiggly brackets. So not the squared off brackets, but the top squiggly brackets. Get something like that, okay? The domain is the list of all X values. So you're going to look at each of these coordinate points and list the X values. I've got 0, 3, 2, and 4. The range, squiggly brackets again, the range is the list of all Y values. I've got 2, 5. I have 2 again. I don't need to write it twice. I don't. It's not wrong if you do, but you don't need to write it twice. So I can skip this 2 and go to -7. There's your domain. There's your range. You would do the same thing if you have a table or if you have a graph. Look at the X values for the domain and the Y values for the range.